Welcome to Storied Audio. The rain had started hours ago. Claire's clothes were soaked, her shoes squished with every step, and her fingers trembled from cold and exhaustion. She had been walking for miles. No destination, no plan, just the desperate need to stay ahead of the fear chasing her. Losing her apartment that morning had been the final blow. She'd known the eviction was coming, but knowing didn't soften the impact of watching her belongings tossed into the hallway like trash. She grabbed what she could and walked out before her landlord could finish his lecture. Now she wandered through a part of town she'd always avoided. Every sound made her flinch. She hugged her backpack to her chest and kept walking. That's when she heard footsteps behind her. Her heart lurched. She spun around, ready to run. But instead of danger, she saw a man holding an umbrella, his expression soft with concern. He looked to be in his mid-20s, tall, with dark hair plastered to his forehead from the rain. "You okay?" he asked gently. Claire hesitated. She didn't trust strangers, especially not men. But something in his voice felt steady, warm. Safe. "I'm fine," she lied. "You're shivering," he said. "And you look like you've been walking forever. I live right around the corner. You can come inside, warm up, get dry. No pressure." Her instincts screamed caution. But she had nowhere else to go. No money. No friends left in the city. And the rain was getting colder. "What's your name?" she asked. "Eric," he said. "And I promise I'm not a creep. You can sit by the door the whole time if you want." Something in his eyes, steady, earnest, made her believe him. "Okay," she whispered. He led her to a small brick building with warm yellow light glowing from the windows. Inside, his apartment was cozy, cluttered with books and mismatched furniture. He handed her a towel and a blanket, then stepped back to give her space. "You can stay as long as you need," he said. No strings attached. She didn't know it then, but that moment would change everything. Weeks passed and something soft began to grow. Claire stayed one night. Then another. Then a week. She slept on the couch at first, too nervous to accept anything more. But Eric never pushed. He cooked extra food without making a big deal of it. He left a pair of warm socks on the arm of the couch. He asked how she was feeling but never pried. Slowly she thought. They spent evenings talking, about music, about childhood dreams, about the things they wished they could forget. Claire learned that Eric worked at a community center helping kids who reminded him of his younger self. He learned that Claire loved drawing but hadn't picked up a pencil in months. One night he placed a sketchbook on the coffee table. "For you," he said. Her throat tightened. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything." She opened it, touched the blank page, and for the first time in a long time felt something like hope. Their closeness grew naturally. Quiet smiles, shared meals, the way their shoulders brushed when they sat together. It wasn't dramatic or rushed. It was gentle. Healing. A slow sunrise after a long night. But the night wasn't done with her yet. The past finds her. It happened on a Thursday afternoon. Claire was walking home from the grocery store when she saw him leaning against the building across the street. Her ex-boyfriend. The man she'd spent months trying to escape. The reason she'd lost her apartment. The reason she'd run. Her blood turned to ice. He smiled, a cold, familiar smile that made her stomach twist. "There you are," he said. "Been looking for you." She dropped the grocery bag and ran. By the time she burst into the apartment, she was shaking so hard she could barely breathe. Eric stood from the couch immediately. "Claire? What happened?" "He found me," she whispered. "He's here." Eric's expression changed, not with anger but with fierce protectiveness. He stepped closer, gently cupping her shoulders. "You're safe here," he said. "I won't let him hurt you." She wanted to believe him. But fear had its claws deep in her. That night the ex pounded on the building door, shouting her name. Claire froze, tears streaming down her face. Eric stood between her and the door, calm but unmovable. "You don't have to open it," he said. "He doesn't get to control you anymore." The shouting eventually stopped, but the fear didn't. Facing the danger. Together. The next morning Eric made a decision. "We're going to the police," he said. "You don't have to do this alone." Claire's instinct was to refuse. She'd spent years believing she didn't deserve help. But Eric's steady presence gave her courage she didn't know she had. At the station she told her story, her ex's violence, the threats, the stalking. Eric sat beside her the whole time, his hand resting lightly over hers. A restraining order was filed. Officers promised to patrol the area. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was a start. That night Claire cried, not from fear but from relief. Eric held her, letting her sob into his shirt. "You're not broken," he whispered. "You're surviving. And I'm right here." She looked up at him, eyes wet. "Why are you being so kind to me?" "Because you deserve kindness," he said softly. "And because I care about you." Her heart fluttered. Fragile. Hopeful. "I care about you too," she whispered. Their first kiss was gentle, like a promise, not a question. A new beginning. Weeks passed. The ex-boyfriend eventually disappeared from the area, discouraged by the police presence and Claire's refusal to hide anymore. She began drawing again, sketching the city skyline, the plants on Eric's windowsill, and sometimes, when she was feeling brave, him. One evening, as the sun dipped below the rooftops, Eric found her sitting on the fire escape with her sketchbook. "Whatcha drawing?" he asked. She turned the page toward him. It was a portrait of the two of them, sitting together, smiling, safe. Eric's eyes softened. "That's beautiful." "So is this," she said quietly, gesturing to the small world they'd built together. He sat beside her, their shoulders touching. "Claire, you know you don't have to leave, right? Not unless you want to." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "I don't want to leave." The city lights flickered on below them, but Claire wasn't afraid of the dark anymore. Not with him beside her. Not with the future finally opening instead of closing. For the first time in years she felt like she wasn't running. She was home. Subscribe for more audio stories.